Hi, and welcome to week 43, our second week in Leo's spaceship, which I think I gotta remember that it's a 5, that Leo is the 5. Necessary change. I need to thank Cernan Earth. I don't have it in this shot, but you can see the channel there. It's a university in the States. Thanks to them and their video on Constellation Close-Up Leo. How long have I been working with Stellarium? Okay, and they pointed out to turn off the atmosphere setting. So I just need to thank them for that, because now we'll go into Stellarium and it makes a huge, like, it's just like, wow, okay, what we did. So what you do in the, no, not there. Where'd the menu go? Oh, I had it right there. Okay, tap on the screen and the menu comes up. And where can I get it into focus? Yeah, atmosphere. That's what I've been working with all this time, not realizing. Okay, so awesome. Now let's get our bearings. Boatis, Virgo. This is a fast forwarding of time to tonight. There, look up. Oh my God, can you ever get tired of looking at the sky? Nope. I realize this isn't actually the sky. But there's our sun, Mercury, and Saturn. So the boundaries, okay, this is working well for Leo energy and 10th house, like 10th month. We're in the 10th month, so finishing and everything. But to have Mercury, sorry for hitting the adjuster on my tripod. If only we could get Capricorn to fucking show up there, thanks. Wow. Right on a ley line. Look at him. Mercury just hits that. I know ley lines thing in this, but still. Okay, it's right near a dwarf planet though. 2 dwarf planets. So it's near Hatshepsut planet. And the other one that I keep calling wrong. But anyway. To have Mercury and Saturn close together. So Saturn being very maternal energy as far as I'm concerned at this point. Very maternal. And that's emphasized in Jyotish astrology, okay? But fears, boundaries, and calculated risks, okay? Matched with the magician Mercury, the commercial energy, the commerce energy, the traveling, the Hermes and Mercury being the messenger, these traveling sales, usually snake oil salesperson. Not that's I'm a salesperson. I'm like, absolutely, that's one of my things. To be the middle person. Put me in a shop. When I was a fabric salesperson, I was the perfect middle person, looking after the customer, but knowing the products. God, it's an art form for me to do it well. And it's because of my Mercury and 3rd house placements and Gemini placements. I've got Jupiter in Gemini and Lilith. But according to the Hermetic tradition, yes, that there's a lot of, and that's why when we have the rod of Asclepius and the caduceus, run. just run. You're being conned, okay? Those symbols of the one snake around the staff and the double snake around the staff. It's all commercial. No matter what they say about Asclepius' staff, because they took the power from the African prophetesses. They tell it in the story of Medusa and several other stories, because the Delphi oracles were African prophetesses. So they took her healing powers, right, by stripping the African prophetesses of their history, their credit, stealing their work. So the Iliad and the prophecies in the Bible are theirs for other people. Anyway, and we go to Mama Zogbe and others for the evidence of that, for the history of that. Natural Tahuti's in prison, put there by the Masons on false drug and murder charges because he was helping Mama Zogbe tell the truth about this. You can find Natural Tahuti's channel on YouTube, okay, Nathan Howard, and you can find his appeal on justice or justia.com, or is it .org? But anyway, where the states list all of their court cases and files, okay? That's also where you can find the evidence that Michael Aquino was never cleared, never allowed by them, by the courts, to clear his name from the accusations from the case in the Presidio in California, that he is still deemed completely unofficially guilty of torturing children. So, same website, you'll find both those things. That's how I know that website, because I found Aquino on them first. And I'd hate saying Aquino, I'd rather say Aquino, but you know, Mike, well, anyway, Mike's, as far as I know, he's on the other side now, because a Satanist in Australia managed, well, a former Satanist, mind control victim, managed to be part of killing him. There's a video for that on YouTube as well, by the guy who claims to have killed him. But anyway, that just came through me. We'll just accept it. But I'm not unknown for these little rants. But anyway, Venus doing her retro thing, deep into Sagittarius. So I know it's supposed to feel awkward, but considering, and I'm just going to say that she's retro in Capricorn, and she's not, obviously, there should be some extra deep healing work going on right now. Like the working things, but like there should be deep magic going on right now, is what I feel. And there's Mars, especially, oh God. Now Mars is pretty deep into, not deep, that's not the right word, we've just left, no, we're still in that mid-space of Ophiuchus, okay, alright, but still counting it as being Sagittarius, out of Scorpius energy, right? Okay, and we are lining up with, what are we lining up with there? 3 Sagittari. Okay, and look at all of this, look at these clusters Mars is heading for. Oy. Well, heading for, God knows how far away, well, we can find out how far away they are, whether or not, but look at, I mean, look, busyness, yes, and there's gonna be stuff there that I can look up and find elsewhere, so, but we'll, anyway, busy, okay, there we go. So now Mercury retro, so gonna be moving, come on Capricorn, did I really have to get that close to you? Okay. So back and forth around Saturn. That's very interesting energy. Very interesting energy. Okay. Wow. Took my time with this one, but awesome. Constellation and sign of Leo. There is, I found, I didn't add it to the pages because I just thought of it last night. And I went looking up, I've got to say, because everybody's got a lion story, yes? Now, what I remember from my fine arts days, oh, all my days are fine arts days, but the dying lioness from Nineveh, okay, sort of where Iraq is, okay, from, I believe, ResearchGate, yes, here she is again. North Palace of Ashurbanipal II at Nineveh in modern-day Mosul Governorate, Iraq. Neo is, yeah, so post-Assyrian. 645 to 635 BC. Yeah, okay, so post the original Assyrians, who are post the Babylonians, who are post the Sumerians, okay? But very moving figure. My favorite arts prof Reg Porter out in Prince Edward Island. He just almost couldn't get through his personal slide of this. All his slides were his own slides. It was awesome, but he couldn't get through it without crying. So the point being is, everybody's got a lion thing, okay? But that one, they made sure to stick in my mind, and that's going back mid 600s. The lion theme really starts to show up over there. What I found that I didn't realize at the time as an art student, this is a Lionsgate in what's now Turkey, okay? I believe Turkey. And this is attributed to the Mitanni people, I believe, who are from the India region. And then that led to, I mean, these aren't lions really, but, right? Okay. Now let me just get double check my information on that. Because we're talking about who influences who so much, right? And they led me to this fabulous that I need for my other work, History of Art, Architecture and Sculpture, allart.org. Whoever built this site, I've got to find your name. So far I haven't found it, but I haven't found Tassili in there yet. There's no search function, and it's not listed in their so we're talking about the North African cave paintings, which are amazing, but Asia Minor during the earlier half, of the second millennia BC, Asia Minor had been invaded from the east by people of Indo-European language. Now, the whole Indo-European thing needs to be, but anyway, the Mitannians, if you go to, there's a iHeart, IHAR is who I reference on YouTube, iHeart channel, Vadam, Raj Vadam, he'll go into all of this with slides, and Mitanni, the Mitanni. So they created an independent kingdom in Syria and northern Mesopotamia. So that Mesopotamia is a Greek word for something that's not Greek. Because, you know, the Greeks, they always need to give it their own name. Assur. Okay, so that's where we get this. Okay, so that's an Indian, I say Indian, but Indian isn't the right word, but geographically, okay, influence coming in. But is there anything else I want to add to that? I'll just focus the camera there for a second. You have fortresses, the same palaces that Dying Lioness, right? There's this whole lion hunt, which it wasn't a hunt. They had the lions already gathered up, and then it's an arena, right? It's you know. But this is going to 850 BC, so that's well before the Romans. And it's just there to, they get to show, so obviously, and as the writer of this article mentions, like, the lion definitely looks like the hero in this situation, right? But another discovery I made, and it's not in my pages, so that's why I'm doing this way. I found out about, I don't know why I'd forgotten, or it slipped my head, Kingdom of Aksum in what is now Ethiopia. Now, what's going to get real funky and exciting, so students of history, thank you. Great remote learning website that's been set up. Kingdom of Aksum. Now, what's really interesting is that the first several books of the Bible actually occur here in the Asir region of Arabia. So for it all to overlap, because this is where the lion shows up as the Lion of Judah, which is going to have completely, you know, I mean, there we go. But strong, this is a huge kingdom. Very powerful port kingdom. Where am I now? Yeah, still students of history, okay? So if you want to pause and give that. But this is where, and then Christianity started to grow here, as well as what was the first state that adopted Christianity. But by Christianity, I don't necessarily mean anything directly connected to Jesus. We're talking Paul and the empire, the rebuilding of the temple through Christianity. So this all, because they're so close to that area where, and I know, hang on, I'll just go get the source information. Okay, so I managed to get my hands on a copy without its dust jacket. But Kamal Salibi, God bless Kamal Salibi, Lebanese scholar. Bible came from Arabia. I discovered that this is one of the books they led me to in the library several years ago now. Not several isn't a lot, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Because biblical Hebrew wasn't spoken, and so he does the linguistics work of going back and checking. Okay, and he rechecked what the place names should actually sound like, and did this, and this is from 1985. He's passed over to the other world now. I don't know if they forced him to do that or what, but I know that they're not happy. Some people are not happy with this book. Yep. But it's totally held up. Let me find a map. Okay, so there's several maps in this book proving different points, yes? But this gives us a broad overview of the area, okay, including where we're looking at Axum, right? So this is right where Axum is. In the time, basically they started getting into their strength about the same time as the return from, like, the return of the Jews from the Babylonian, or the, I'm trying to remember if it was the Assyrian exile. It had to be, I want to say more towards, I know there are 2 exiles. They come back here, and then, because they're from here, okay? Egypt is a mistranslation. Egypt ends up being translated to another area down in here, okay? Then when they come back, it looks like they move upwards to start fresh, okay? And that's when we have the centralization. Let me get another one of my sources, okay? Bible Unearthed. Simon & Schuster, Rockefeller Center themselves published this. 2 main, Israel Finkelstein and Neil Asher Silberman. Sorry if it's Finkelstein. Okay. There's no Temple of Solomon. Okay. Solomon existed before structures like that existed. So why am I getting to that? Because I grew up so heavily. This is my own copy. This is my favorite translation to work with. Okay. So in here we have the African prophecies. And we have buried in here the history of what happened, with the history of who Lilith really is, okay, through several books, okay. And then we have, of course, all the mystery school stuff when we get into New Testament, minus anything good that Jesus, the good things Jesus had to say, which set me on my path. I have to thank Jesus because I grew up in the tradition, but I grew up in a very, well, all the churches are Masonic at this point, but we're talking about the Lion of, this huge lion theme, Lion of Judah, which comes to its fullness thanks to C.S. Lewis, who's really pushing, and I grew up with this from the same time as I painted the pink spider, okay, and here we have the strength card. C.S. Lewis knew exactly what he was getting Pauline Baines to reference. So Pamela Coleman Smith, thank you very much. But we have the Lion of Judah is Aslan, okay? Or we take it to the next level with Aslan, but Aslan's a direct reference to Lion of Judah, another name for the Jews. However, their history comes later. So there are other lions, there are other relationships, of course. And then we have, because we have those that Lion's Gate up from the Mitanni up in Turkey. And that's coming in the mid 600s. So that's about, this is all happening at about the same time. And that's coming from an Indian area source. So let's turn the page. And I'm going to work backwards for a minute and do the sign page first. And then the constellation page. Because within, well, kind of together, all right? Because in Leo, we have several stars. I'll hold this up too. Why do I even sit down when I know I'm going to be right up back to the camera? Okay. We have several stars. Seat of the 12 emperors, which is part of another 5-star Wu Tzi. Talking about Danab al-Assad here, but the tail of the lion, but the great seat of the 12 emperors as well, okay? So that's taking us into Chinese astrology. So we also have, oh yeah, there's the cosmic horseshoe, or somewhere around 93 Leonis. Zosma, we have an Oz reference, but it's the wrong name. Should be Dur. Zubra, lion's back, okay? But down here, again, we have, where? There's heavy, they haven't changed the names from any of the Arabic. So it goes to show how strong the culture stayed through multiple civilizations, multiple astrologies, yes, minus Jyotish, okay? But the idea, because when we get into the Nakshatras, they don't have any lion qualities to them at all. Because we're talking about Maga, Purva Falguni, and, no, Ashlesha hits before. Because Maga pretty much hits at the beginning of Leo. And we have Uttara Falguni at the end, just a little bit, okay? So it's mostly Maga and Purva Falguni. But we have the 14th star of Xuanwan, if I'm saying that the right way, which is Regulus, the big one of the brightest stars, period, dot, okay? So, it also has a uniquely Persian name, Venant. But then, of course, in Arabic, Heart of the Lion, which is coming from there. I found articles that show they didn't think that there was necessarily a link between Arabic and Babylonian, but I found the articles that, like, no, and I'm not sure that scholars would argue with me about that anyway. El-Jaba, the forehead, 12th star of Xuanwan, the Yellow Emperor, right? So there's several stars in here referencing the Yellow Emperor. A lot of constellation work between Chinese astrology and the other astrologies. They don't use the same stars for some reason, right? Based geographically, I'm sure. But because of that, and this is only busy because of how because I've scaled this smaller, because for me, you can't take Leo without Leo minor. Now, I didn't find anything particular to look up, but I do find that relationship, I don't intuitive, there's that word, I hate that word. Of course we know how we know things. Psychic, or it's your own mind doing its work. But I can't take Leo without Leo minor. They have to go together. They just do. So none of this gets us to accept what I started with Axum, and I needed to give credit to the person. I was looking up, because the lion in the flag of Ethiopia is so strong. It led me to a Quora answer. Somebody referenced how long the lion has been a symbol of emperors and empresses in Axum. And I thought, yeah, that would be pretty typical for something to already exist in an area geographically, right? And for sure, there's I've got it on the page. Well, no, I'll just pull the page up. back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. Okay, when I don't press record, I reset, but I don't press record. So the Shenyun performingarts.org, okay, gives me the four-faced yellow emperor of what they say is myth history. But gives, I liked it, so I stayed with it as an overview. So if you want to pause, if I can get it clear enough that it's worth pausing to read. Okay, but we've got, it's a possible blend of somebody who actually lived, right? Plus the cultural start, right, of a huge conglomeration of people, yes? So a national identity is what we're looking at. Just when we finally get to, I mean, when we're down in the Assyria region of Arabia, you still have polytheism going on. When you need a united state of Israel, then you become a monotheism to reinforce, okay? And that's going to sound like I'm being a bitch, but that's even what we end up, the Bible itself, oh God. Anyway, this fabulous, can I get it to focus enough? There's this lioness, okay? So in Axum, on this rock, there's the rock, okay? That's where she is. Here's a wonderful Reddit involving it. Excuse me, my son pointed out to me, Goku from Dragon Ball Z. The story of how she ended up on this rock, the urban myth is that St. Michael or Angel Gabriel basically had such a battle with her and fried her ass against the rock. No cultural allegory there whatsoever, right? So I found out about her thanks to this article, pipeaway.com, by looking up Axum after finding that, looking up basically Ethiopia and lions, okay? It's lion symbolisms, okay? So that's just south of how we end up, where we end up with Sekhmet, right? In Egypt. Whoa, Kristen, no, not Egypt. Kemet, right? I mean, yes, Egypt, but we need to call it Kemet. We need to call it Kemet, and she is the black goddess. Okay, which is going, and then I've got, I went to, can I focus it enough? No, it's not high resolution enough. Jewish Virtual Library, okay, on lion symbolism. I've got pages and pages from these guys, okay, on Lion of Judah and various others. However, so Sekhmet has so many qualities the same as, and I'm not saying that anybody stole from anybody else. I'm saying that there is actually Kali. So Sekhmet is the name. She's got the same attributes. I didn't include them on this page, but the bloodlust she was created for. Now, people associate bad things with her, but they like to do that with women, don't they? Well, they do it with men often enough, but it's like it's a bad thing. They honor it. We honor it in the men, and we don't honor it in the women. It's like, yeah, she would do that. But no, this bloodiness, this writing of things that they take as punishments and everything. So you've got this idea of how women and violence interact, and it has to go to the extreme, of course, right? But then if we go to the Upanishads, then you get a whole Vishnu. But here I found Brahma, if I can get that. Now I've got Brahman and the lion. Brahman is not the same as the Brahma, right? But so I have to go back and I have to clean up which I insert here, because I have a couple of pages from there, okay? But we also have to get into, yeah, Gilgamesh, but Vishnu and the lion. So huge, and of course the state emblem, the state is, for India, is the four are the four lions facing in 4 different directions. So everybody loves the lion. Of course, we have Ishtar. We have to get down to Ishtar and Ishtar's gate, and Ishtar is a lion as well. So we have, and then Ishtar overlaps with Gilgamesh, right? But it's actually in Kidu, Gilgamesh wears the pelt of a lion, and he does fight lions. But in Kidu is actually my favorite story, and I couldn't fit it in here. But in this version of Gilgamesh by Bernarda Bryson, the illustrator, I should get the book, is what I should do. I have the pages in my phone, but I'll get the book. But here's Ishtar riding lion. So strength card much? I guess when we're looking at the strength card, we're looking at Ishtar. That's what we're doing. And so, CS knows this. Yes. I could get it. Yeah. What exactly is going on with this? Right? He knows what he's actually passing on to us, culturally, spiritually. But do we know? No, it's taken me a lot. And I've known the story of Gilgamesh for years and years, ever since I got into it for my kids' sake. But before I go get the book, Mythical Passages, mythicjourneys.org, okay? An article by John David Ebert. Gilgamesh Journeys Through the Zodiac. The story of Gilgamesh and the lion. So but what he points out is that the Sumerian story of Gilgamesh, because Gilgamesh is Sumerian, so pre-Babylonian. But his stories, those stories of the lion would be more earthly stories, because the copies of that version of Gilgamesh's, and Gilgamesh was a king in Sumer, but those versions are scattered, multiple. There's not a cohesive whole to them. Whereas when you get to the Babylonian and Akkadian versions of the Gilgamesh story, they are a cohesive whole. There are 11 tablets, one's missing, and he figures out that the 12th is the Aries tablet, which meant that Gilgamesh was the Aries, and he was the initiate of a new era, okay? And that he's passing through. They make it a zodiacal story. They make it a star story. It doesn't start necessarily as a star story. There's no evidence of that. But it becomes, through the Babylonians, a star story. Well, the Babylonians got us a long ways to where we are today with all of this, where we are in tarot, where we are with the occult, okay? Great White Brotherhood, completely, okay? So, and then of course Islam struggled. It used to embrace astrology much more, and then since in modern times it does not. So, but yeah, hang on a second. Okay, so I think Sekhmet gives us a lot to go with. That the lioness in Ethiopia, in Aksum, gives us a lot to go with. That's very interesting. Like, I didn't know about that lioness till looking for her, so I understand that they wanted me to find her. Yes? So, very significant there. But also, everything that I've mentioned. So, here's Enkidu in Gilgamesh, and he is created to defeat Gilgamesh, but then they end up becoming basically blood brothers. Very close, okay? And these are Bernarda's versions of illustrations based on what actually exists over there. Okay, so that's where I'm getting this lion. Okay. And it's in Kidu. So here we have, because why? Because this is where Heracles comes from, is from these, okay? Stories. So here he is wrestling this lion, and then he wins the fight without killing the lion, and then tends to the lion's wounds. And Kidu is very much a beast man. He's a giant. So if we want to go into the David and Goliath story, basically, but he's a giant, he's wild, he's strong, obviously. And then, so word of him gets to Gilgamesh, and they're like, what are you going to do? And he's like, I'm going to send a woman to him calls her a girl, of course, but anyway, harem. Where'd we get that name? But she goes, now in some versions she just goes and has sex with him for a week, but I like this version where she actually gets into a relationship with him, okay? And she's worried about what would happen to him if she delivers him. She's supposed to tame him, right? And she teaches him language, she teaches him everything, how to look after himself, how to be human, right? Okay. And then he realizes that the more he becomes like people, the less the animals. He had an excellent relationship with all the other animals, and they could talk and, be friends, right? But he starts to lose it. He starts to lose it. Okay, this is Gilgamesh's mom, Ninsun, who could interpret dreams and everything, right? But anyway, so then of course Enkidu, well, Enkidu suffers a pretty shitty fate. So, but I do, that's one of my, and then in this version, Gilgamesh shares it with him. But wanted to point out, thanks again to CERN and Earth, okay? There are these galaxies in here, right there. The Leo Quartet, Hickson 44 or NGC 3190, okay? It looks like this, so they show you what it looks like. There's a fifth one down there as well. And then just above Regulus, so down here, there is Leo 1 galaxy. There's also a dwarf planet, Aegina. I forgot a star there. Okay, and again, then this same video, okay, where is it? CERN and Earth, constellation close-up Leo, pointed out the cosmic horseshoe, one galaxy in front of another galaxy, distorting it, okay, in what they call gravitational lensing. So then I learned about gravitational lensing a bit. A couple of other articles I found on the cosmic horseshoe, but I couldn't fit everything on here. Cosmic horseshoe is somewhere up this person, Rudolf Riet, on astrobin.com. Okay, the area around, because it's like, where the hell? They never tell you where these things are sometimes. Never, sometimes. Put those words together. But Rudolf 90 gave me 93. Well, it's better in the description actually. No, it's not. Okay, 93, somewhere around 93 Leonis. So I was like, okay, well, that's as close as I can get for now with the information. All right, but you have this phenomena there as well. And so that's my work on the constellation. If we go through the stars star by star, so Denebola, or however they want me to say that. Of course, Zosma, so that takes me down the Oz path, just for the fun of it. Hi, Frank Baum. Chertan. There are two galaxies there that I'm forgetting about, M65 and M66. So, M stands for Messier, so Messier objects. Also known as Theta, that star. And then, of course, we have Algebra, or Algebra, because it's algebra. Adhafera, Zeta Leonis, Rasalis, or Mu, or Ras Alisad Borealis, or Ras Alisad Australis. I think that's actually this one. Nope, that's Alpha Lentis. That belongs to, yeah. Okay. Epsilon Leonis is another name. Venus. Oh, right. Venus passes every 8 years. So there's that the 5-petaled flower that Venus shapes the orbit around Earth, right? So 5 petals takes 8 years, okay? She passes Regulus during the heliacal rising, around the first week of September, and that's when the sun has actually left Regulus, right? So every 8 years, that's so coming up this year, this September, we're going to see what happens with that energy. Okay. Vasalasad, head of the lion. Which is, of course, that. So Regulus, Eta Leonis, and yes, Chertan. They're down here. Now, sometimes we give him a back leg. Iota and Sigma. Okay. Sigma, I think I put a little far over. Sigma should probably be back up here. Then we have these three, the trio. M105, M96, and M95 galaxies. One of these, this one, I believe 105, is called the Hamburger Cluster. Hamburger Galaxy. Ah. Okay. And that's where we have a small rib of Chertan. This is a small rib. Okay. But yes, there we are for this week. But I also wanted to point out that absolutely we're in the middle days of January as well. So house number 10, the 10th month of this program. Middle 5 to 6 days of January can be used well for finishing projects. Absolutely. My website, I guess I should get that up on the camera for a moment as well, just to prove what I'm talking about. But yeah, I forgot 5. It's 5. Necessary change. Leo is 5. So this could be the most awkward feeling month of the experience. And I can say that I've been feeling awkward energies. It's been very uncomfortable. And now I know. It's like I knew that it was because of the changes that were necessary. But it's like, oh, right. This is unique in the experience. And so sun energy, right? Sun cycles. Who we really are. Yeah, one last thing. Okay, so this is what I've been working on for years. And I'm finishing this up. beginningofdrawing.com, because in order to run my ads, Facebook wants me to collect emails for them. I'm not going to do that, so I'm going to link my Facebook ads, however effective they may or may not be anymore, but I've always had success with Facebook ads in the past. Not that I hang out on Facebook, I actually can't handle it. But until I master Google ads, and I'm not maybe, well, of course, one day YouTube, but YouTube ads are funny things because I think YouTube is so good for organic and just not spamming people with ads. But this is what I've been working on for years. There's my son's drawing. And this is just the one page. Okay. So I've been struggling. The design work for this website I did a few years ago, and then committing to finishing it. I was like, well, now's the time to finish it. So it's exactly what I'm doing, and I was hoping to be done already, but because I know that it's not going to happen outside the schedule of this book, it's happening in the schedule of this book, and this is the month for finishing a project. And so I have all of these pages I've been working on, right? And I need to finish that. I'll just go to one other page I've been working on lately. But yes, so I got to get all of these things loaded into it in the next few days, okay? Because when we get to this is where the bulk of the work is still waiting for me to finish, but it's all basically workbooks, and then there's a program that people can sign on for, right? The thing that I did, that I just added, I did all the logistics for the shop. So hooking up with Stripe again and all of those things, and then it's not a big deal. It's just not a big deal. But I'd done it before. But that's what I'm finishing up. And now I gotta go run and catch a bus. But much love. Thank you for this. Sorry. Well, no, it is what it is. It takes as long as it takes in order to do it well. Back soon with readings, I hope. I really miss doing them.